ever get that feeling. Like, you're really invested in a show, and then bam, a crazy twist comes out of nowhere, and you're left like, wait, what? Repeat?
Yeah, that's me with Agatha All Along right now. This latest episode with Agatha Harkness totally changes things, especially with her son, or should I say, her supposedly gone, but maybe not son. So, today we're diving deep into all of Agatha's secrets, family drama, and you know we can't forget about the possibility of a certain demonic figure making their grand entrance into the MCU. I'm talking about Mephisto, of course.
Yeah! The Marvel Devil. Joining me as always is our mystical Marvel expert. What did you think about this last episode? Did Agatha's little stroll down memory lane surprise you as much as it surprised me?
Well, let's just say that episode 3 of Agatha All Along, it definitely threw a giant log onto the fire. The speculation fire, that is. That whole part with Agatha and the other witches going through the witches' road, super interesting. And it wasn't just a magical obstacle course. It really made them face their deepest fears and regrets. Almost like a messed up version of Wanda's powers. You know, from Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Oh, totally.
But the thing that really stuck with me was that reveal about Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch.
Yeah, that whole Nicholas Scratch thing. Like a bolt of magic right out of the blue. One minute we're watching these witches face their worst fears, and the next thing you know, Agatha might have traded her own kid for the Darkhold. You know, Marvel's book of ultimate evil. Like, how are we even supposed to process that? It totally changes how we see her, don't you think?
Exactly. I mean, we always knew Agatha was ambitious. But this just shows she's willing to go to any lengths for power. And we all know Agatha. She's not just going to stop at a little power grab.
Okay, so let's break down this whole Darkhold thing. For anyone who hasn't memorized every single Marvel thing, what exactly makes the Darkhold so powerful? And more importantly, so dangerous?
Imagine a book. And in this book is literally all the forbidden knowledge in the universe. Spells, rituals, you name it. Things that could literally reshape reality. That's the Darkhold. It whispers temptations in your ear. It promises you ultimate power. But at a terrible, terrible price. It corrupts absolutely everything it touches. Even if you start with good intentions, it twists everything into something dark and destructive.
So it's not just a source of power. It's like it's its own corrupting influence.
Exactly. It's like a cookbook of magic. But it's totally corrupted. It might have powerful recipes, but every single one comes with a terrible price. And with Agatha wielding that kind of power, well, let's just say things are not looking good.
Makes you wonder, was Agatha always power-hungry? Or did the Darkhold twist her over time? Could this be why she's so set on finishing the Witch's Road? Is she trying to fix her past mistakes? Or is she diving even deeper into darkness?
Now that is the million-dollar question. And this episode, it throws us another curveball with Jennifer Kale's comment about Agatha's son.
Oh yeah, how could I forget about that? She straight up calls Nicholas Scratch an agent of Mephisto. And for those who aren't total Marvel encyclopedia, that means she's saying he's working with the devil himself.
And that's where things get really interesting. You see, Mephisto's been a hot topic with the fans.
Yeah.
Especially after WandaVision teased us, but never fully delivered.
They knew what they were doing, throwing that Mephisto name out there like a bomb. But how does this all connect back to Agatha and her son? Is this where the whole Mephisto is coming to the MCU theory finally happens?
Okay, so remember how strangely attached Agatha was to her rabbit? Senior Scratchy? Yeah, well, that takes on a whole new meaning now. It's like she's feeling super guilty.
Yeah.
Or maybe even missing the son she supposedly sacrificed.
It's like she's trying to replace him, which is heartbreaking and honestly terrifying considering how much power she has now. And what about that mysterious teen character always hanging around her? Could that actually be her son, back from some kind of demonic deal gone wrong?
That's a popular theory going around. And I have to say, it would be a fantastic twist, imagine. What if Mephisto isn't connected to Wanda, like we thought after WandaVision? What if he's been connected to Agatha this whole time?
That would be crazy, especially with the show literally being called Agatha All Along. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Before we get lost in a maze of demon dads and reality-bending deals, let's take a step back from Mephisto for a sec. What I find really interesting is how The Witch's Road, it's like it's peeling back layers of Agatha's personality. It's not just about her past. It's about how her past is shaping who she is now.
Exactly. The Witch's Road is all about self-discovery, even if it's a dangerous and scary journey. And for Agatha, it seems like the whole journey is tied to her son and the choices she's made.
And speaking of The Witch's Road, it's not just a personal journey for Agatha, right? It seems like Teen and whatever sacrifices she made are a big part of it, like in that first trial. They need Teen's blood to move forward. It's almost like the road itself knows he's a key player in this whole magical game.
It is interesting how The Witch's Road seems tailor-made for Agatha's coven, each trial reflecting their deepest fears and regrets. But then there's Teen, his blood, his very essence. It's crucial for their progress. It's as if he's not just along for the ride, but woven into the fabric of the road itself, whether by design or some strange twist of fate.
So it's not just Agatha finding a magically gifted kid and deciding to bring him along. There's something deeper going on here.
Exactly. This isn't just about Agatha's ambition anymore. It's about her legacy, her bloodline, and the potential consequences of her past. Remember that trial where those witches are trapped? The illusion of drowning, forced to confront their fear of failure and loss. What if that trial, maybe even the entire Witch's Road, is designed to test Agatha and Teen, revealing his true nature and the power he holds?
Okay, so let's talk about Teen's whole mysterious identity thing. Agatha, with all her magic, she can't figure out who he is because of that sigil hiding his true nature. Who could be powerful enough to play such a strong enchantment, even blocking someone as strong as Agatha?
That sigil is a really interesting detail. It suggests someone out there. They knew Teen would be important to this whole mystical journey, and they went to extreme lengths to hide his identity, even from himself. We're talking about a level of magic that very few possess. Doctor Strange, with his mastery of the mystic arts, he could definitely do it. But then there's Wanda, with her reality-bending magic. It could be either of them, and the implications are huge.
It's like someone wanted to make Tin a walking mystery. But why? And who? I'm getting major Chosen One vibes. But with a dash of dark magic and identity crisis, and don't forget about Jennifer Kale, you know, the witch who seems super interested in Teen's identity. She's also the one who drops the whole Mephisto bomb, almost like she's trying to warn Teen about his possible connection to this demonic entity.
Her warning definitely adds another layer to all of this. It's like she's telling Teen, hey kid, your life is way more complicated than you think, and that connection you have with Agatha, it might just be the tip of the iceberg. This whole connection between Teen, the Witch's Road, and the potential involvement of beings like Mephisto suggests something much bigger is happening than we initially thought.
So you're saying this is even more complicated than we thought, and we thought we were already deep in the weeds. But how does Agatha's desire for power, which might be fueled by the Darkhold, how does that factor into all of this? Is she trying to change her past, undo a deal with the demon, or is there something even crazier happening?
That's what's so great about this show. Just when you think you've figured something out, a new mystery pops up. But that's what makes Agatha All Along so captivating. It keeps us guessing. It makes us analyze every little detail and explore every possibility.
Like a puzzle box, where each layer reveals a whole new set of complexities. But we have to remember, this isn't just a game. There are real consequences here, maybe even affecting the entire MCU as we know it.
Exactly. As we go deeper into this mystery, we have to remember that the answers we're looking for, well, they might not be easy to find. But the journey itself can be just as enlightening as the destination.
It really is like we're putting together a map to find some hidden treasure. But each clue we uncover, the treasure just keeps getting further away.
That's a great way to put it. The best part about Agatha All Along is how it takes all these different pieces. Agatha's past, Teen's mysterious origins, the Witch's Road. Oh, and let's not forget about Mephisto looming in the background. And it weaves them together into this narrative tapestry that's both intricate and suspenseful.
And we can't forget about the Darkhold, just kind of lurking in the shadows, probably messing with Agatha's ambitions, influencing her every move.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Darkhold is like a wild card in this game of mystical poker. It can completely change who has the power, and it can lead even the best people down a dark path.
So we've got all these different threads coming together. What does it all mean? We've got Agatha, driven by her ambition, and maybe even changed by the Darkhold, going on this dangerous journey on the Witch's Road. And then there's Teen, shrouded in mystery. His very existence is connected to the road. It's like he holds the key to unlocking all its secrets. But at what cost?
That connection between Agatha, Teen, and the Witch's Road, that's the key to all of this. It tells us that Agatha isn't just after power for herself, or even to rule over everyone else. It's about something much bigger, something that ties her fate to her sons, and maybe even to the very essence of magic itself.
Could she be using the Witch's Road to try and tap into some forbidden magic, the kind that needs a blood sacrifice? Is that why she made a deal for the Darkhold in the first place? Maybe to reverse her son's fate?
Now, that is a very interesting theory, and it lines up perfectly with the themes of the show. Regret, ambition, the way power can corrupt even the best of us. Remember those glimpses we got of Agatha's past? The way she clung to Senor Scratchy, the longing in her eyes. It wasn't just about a pet rabbit. It showed us how deeply she felt that loss, and how desperate she was to get back what she had sacrificed.
So you're saying this whole Witch's Road thing could be Agatha's way of trying to redeem herself, even if it means breaking the rules of magic.
Yeah.
and maybe making even bigger sacrifices.
Exactly. It's a classic story. Ambition versus love, the weight of past mistakes pushing someone on a desperate quest for forgiveness.
This deep dive has totally changed how I see Agatha, and the whole web of magic, mystery, and family that makes this story so compelling. What started as a simple recap turned into a full-blown investigation.
That's what happens when you really dig into a story like this. You start uncovering layers of meaning, hidden connections, and possibilities you never even considered.
It's enough to make your head spin, but in a good way. Agatha's journey is far from over, and I can't wait to see where this crazy path leads, even if it takes us straight into the darkest corners of the MCU.
As do I. And while we wait with bated breath for the next episode, let's not forget the question that hangs over everything. If Teen is the key to Agatha's success, and his very existence is this huge mystery, possibly connected to Mephisto himself, what will Agatha ultimately have to sacrifice to achieve her goals?
Now that is a question to ponder. Until next time, that is. To all you listeners out there, keep those theories coming. And remember, in the world of Agatha Harkness, nothing is ever as it seems.
Very true. And sometimes, the most unsettling truths are the ones we find within ourselves.
Well said. All right, everyone, buckle up, because today we are diving deep into all things Thunderbolts. We've got a mountain of intel here from the Direct, and let me tell you, it sounds like Marvel is about to flip the script on the whole superhero game.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, they seem to be leaning into this whole idea of morally gray characters.
Yeah.
Like way more than before. This isn't just, oh, they're a hero with a dark side. This is full-on anti-heroes running the show.
It's a bold move, for sure. And speaking of bold moves, how about that team roster? It's definitely not your grandma's Thunderbolts, that's for sure.
You're telling me. No kidding. When I saw the lineup, I was like, where do I even start? We've got Yelena Belova, fresh off her whole Hawkeye thing.
Still trying to figure out life after Natasha.
And then you've got Bucky Barnes, still wrestling with his Winter Soldier past.
Can you ever truly outrun your past?
Right. Especially when your past involves brainwashing and global assassinations. And then, of course, there's U.S. Agent.
Who, let's face it, didn't exactly live up to the whole Captain America legacy.
Understatement of the century.
Right.
And hold on, because we've also got Taskmaster and Ghost making a comeback. But get this, they've got totally revamped looks.
Seriously, Ghost's new suit, it's menacing, like sleek black with a creepy white mask. And Taskmaster, forget that mishmash of gear she used to wear. This new look is giving me major Black Widow vibes.
It's like they're really leaning into the whole visual storytelling thing. I mean, the costumes alone tell you these characters ain't messing around.
It's all about the details, right? But you know what really has me hooked? Yelena's journey. You see her in the trailer, and she's just lost. Adrift in a world without Natasha. There's this line she has. She says, "I'm lost. I've got nothing."
Man, chills. That line sends chills down my spine every time. You can just feel that emptiness she's carrying.
And it makes you think, what does she have left to lose? Is she going to find a new purpose with the Thunderbolts, or is this going to lead her down an even darker path?
That's the million-dollar question. Speaking of questions, what about their actual mission? The articles are pretty vague on the specifics.
Yeah, they're keeping things pretty under wraps, but there's this one shot in the trailer and it has everyone talking. It's a quick glimpse, but it looks an awful lot like Val is chilling in Avengers Tower.
Wait, hold up. Avengers Tower? Like she just casually bought the place and moved in?
Right. It's like Thanos trashed the planet and Val saw a real estate opportunity. I mean, what's she planning in there? World domination.
Don't even get me started on the whole adamantium thing.
Oh, right. The articles mentioned something about adamantium. For those who might not be familiar with the comics, we're talking indestructible metal here. Wolverine's claws. Adamantium.
It's a big deal. If Val has access to adamantium, that could be a game changer for the entire MCU. And it's not like she's exactly known for using her power responsibly.
No kidding. This is the same woman who basically recruited Yelena to go after Hawkeye.
Okay, so we've got this team of anti-heroes, a shadowy government figure with a mysterious agenda, and enough adamantium to make a small country nervous.
And we haven't even talked about the big one yet. The secret character everyone's been dying to know about.
Oh yeah, the big kahuna. Okay, so the articles are being super cryptic. But all signs point to Steven Yeun joining the MCU as none other than Sentry.
Sentry. Glenn from The Walking Dead is playing Sentry. Are you serious? We are going to need a whole other deep dive just to unpack that one. Okay, so Sentry. We can't just drop that bomb and move on.
Right. We're talking about a character who could literally level a city if he wanted to.
For those who might be scratching their heads right now, Sentry is basically
How do I even describe him?
Imagine Superman, but with a really, really bad case of split personality.
Okay, that tracks. Superman with baggage.
More like Superman with an evil twin brother who lives inside his head.
Mm-hmm.
And that twin, yeah, that's the Void. Pure chaos and destruction.
See, this is what I love about Marvel. They take these classic archetypes, like the all-powerful hero, and then they add this layer of complexity.
And the rumors about how they cast Steven Yeun, it's perfect. It's like Robert Kirkman, the Walking Dead guy, let it slip in an interview.
Oh, yeah. He basically confirmed that Yeun was his first choice for Invincible, which is another one of Kirkman's creations. And get this. Apparently, Yeun joked that he'll only do roles where he gets to wear yellow and blue. Invincible. Yellow and blue, Sentry. Boom. Yellow and blue.
Coincidence? I think not. It's those little winks and nods that make you realize how much thought goes into this stuff.
It's like they're playing 4D chess while we're all stuck on checkers.
Right. But okay, let's talk about Sentry for a second. How do you even begin to write a character that powerful into a story? And with a team like the Thunderbolts, who are already teetering on the edge...
You're throwing a super-powered wild card into an already volatile mix. It's a recipe for disaster. Or maybe, just maybe, something incredible.
And let's not forget about Val. Still sitting on that whole adamantium secret.
Right. What's she doing with it? What's her endgame here?
Some of the articles I read were hinting at a possible Dark Avengers situation.
Okay, slow down. Dark Avengers, for those of us who haven't had the pleasure.
So imagine this. You've got villains, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not running around in flashy costumes causing mayhem. They're pretending to be heroes.
Oh, sneaky. Like a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of deal.
Exactly. Public loves them, trusts them, but little do they know. They're being manipulated by some shadowy figures pulling the strings from behind the scenes. And the Thunderbolts. They could be the key to making it all happen.
Wow. It's like everything we thought we knew about good and bad just got flipped on its head. It makes you wonder who's really in control, you know?
And what happens when the lines get so blurred you can't even tell the difference between the heroes and the villains anymore?
It's a good thing we're not in the MCU, right? Because I wouldn't know who to trust. It's giving, like, post-apocalyptic vibes, but with better tech.
Right. It's like the world's still trying to find its footing after Thanos, and here comes Val offering a solution no one asked for.
But maybe, just maybe, it's the solution they need. I keep thinking about that line Val drops in the trailer. She says, "The world needs something."
Chills, man. Chills. She's not talking about a bake sale, that's for sure.
And the way she delivers that line, it's like she's already 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, it's like she's playing chess while the rest of us are struggling with checkers. So we've got the Thunderbolts, these morally ambiguous characters, some with powers that could level cities.
Led by a woman who makes Nick Fury look like a Boy Scout.
It's intense. And it makes you think, where does this all lead? Are they going to toe the line? Or are they going to break bad?
Well, if we've learned anything from the MCU, it's that nothing is ever black and white. There's always a shade of gray.
And let's be real, those shades of gray make for way more interesting stories. I mean, look at the comics. The Thunderbolts have been heroes, villains, and everything in between.
It's all about those moral dilemmas, right? Those moments where you have to choose between the lesser of two evils.
And those choices, they have consequences. We've seen it time and time again in the MCU. Actions have ripple effects. So what happens when you've got a team like the Thunderbolts with their checkered pasts and questionable morals making those calls?
It's enough to keep you up at night.
Well, hopefully not up at night, but definitely something to ponder as we get closer to the movie's release.
For sure. This deep dive has given us a lot to unpack. We've dissected those juicy details from the direct, explored the implications of a certain metal that shall not be named,
And tried to wrap our heads around the idea of Steven Yeun playing a character who could sneeze and destroy a planet.
It's been a wild ride. But that's the beauty of the MCU, isn't it? Always keeping us on the edge of our seats, questioning everything, and eagerly reading the next chapter. What an exciting time to be a Marvel fan.
Look at the future.
The future.
That's right. We're talking about all the upcoming DC movies, and there are a lot.
A lot.
We're going to break down those release dates, give you the inside scoop from our research, and most importantly, we're going to figure out what it all means for the DC universe.
It's going to be huge.
This deep dive is all based on this awesome article we found over on Screen Rant called Every Upcoming DC Movie in 2024 and Beyond.
Great article. Really breaks it all down.
So if you want to follow along with us, and I know you do, you can find that link in our show notes.
Seriously, go check it out.
Okay, let's do this thing.
Let's go.
First things first, we've got to set the stage here. because DC's got a lot going on right now. It's not as simple as, like, just announcing a bunch of sequels. They've got this whole new strategy in play.
Yeah, it's a two-pronged approach, really.
Two-pronged, huh? You're going to have to break that down for me.
Okay, so basically, DC's got two tracks going on simultaneously. Track one is the main DC universe, the DCU. Think of it as, like, the big team-up world.
Okay, makes sense.
And then track two is what they're calling Elseworlds projects.
Elseworlds. I think I've heard that term before, but remind me.
It's basically their way of saying, hey, these stories stand on their own. They're not bound by the main continuity.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they can get kind of experimental with it.
Exactly. So you might have a gritty noir Batman movie over here in Elseworlds, and then over in the main DCU, you've got your big interconnected storylines with Superman and Wonder Woman, and they don't have to line up perfectly.
So it's like how Marvel has their main universe, and then they have stuff like Deadpool, which does its own thing.
You got it? So to give you a more concrete example, the new Superman movie that's in the works, that's going to be part of the main DC universe.
Okay.
But something like the Batman Part 2 with Robert Pattinson, that's an Elseworlds project.
So that movie can be as Batfleck as it wants to be without messing up whatever's happening with the main Batman.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a way for DC to tell all sorts of different stories without being limited by one strict continuity.
Wow. Okay, that's actually a pretty cool strategy. It's like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Right. They get to cater to fans who love the big interconnected universes, but they also get to play around with more standalone stories that might appeal to a wider audience.
Okay, I'm liking this two-pronged approach.
Yeah.
So where do we even start with all these upcoming releases? Like, what's the first movie we should have on our radar?
Well, 2024 is a little bit of a breather year. There's only one live-action film on the docket.
Only one?
Only one, but a big one. Mark your calendars for October 4th, because Joker, Folie à Deux, is hitting theaters.
Wait, hold on. The Joaquin Phoenix Joker is getting a sequel?
He is.
I am so there. I mean, that first movie was a masterpiece. What do we know about this one? Like, is it a direct continuation?
Well, it's definitely building on the success of the first film, but get this, it's a musical.
A musical, like with singing and dancing. Yeah. With that Joker.
Exactly. That's the rumor. And they're bringing in Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn.
Whoa. Okay, Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. That is inspired casting.
Right. The internet's already buzzing about what their dynamic is going to be like on screen.
Okay, I am so here for that. But hold on. This Joker sequel, this wouldn't happen to fall under that whole Elseworlds thing, would it?
You know it.
So even though it's got these big iconic characters, it won't actually impact the main DC universe that James Gunn is building.
Not at all. It's free to tell its own twisted musical story without any limitations.
Man, DC is really playing it smart with this whole Elseworlds thing. They can experiment, take risks, and if something doesn't quite land, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly. Low stakes, high reward. But speaking of the main DC universe, that's where things get really interesting in 2025. That's when James Gunn's vision really kicks off.
All right, let's talk Gunn. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about his vision for DC. What's he got in store for us?
He is launching his grand plan with a brand new Superman movie, and it's set to premiere on July 11th, 2025.
Wait, another Superman reboot. I feel like we just had one with Henry Cavill.
This one's different. Promise, we're not doing that whole origin story thing again. Yeah. This time around, Clark Kent is already Superman. He's already working at the Daily Planet figuring out this whole double life thing.
Okay, so less about the tights and the cape and more about what kind of Superman he chooses to be.
You got it. This is about Clark Kent navigating the world as Superman. It's about the internal struggles, the moral dilemmas, all that juicy stuff.
Okay, now that is interesting. That's way more my speed than another origin story.
Okay.
So it's less about him getting the powers and more about what kind of Superman he chooses to be.
That's interesting. Exactly. And the theme Gunn seems to be going for is all about Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing, something that will likely resonate throughout the whole DC universe he's building.
Okay, I like where this is going. It's a fresh take on a character that's been done, a few times before.
Right. It's about finding the human element within the extraordinary.
I like it. Okay, so we've got Superman in 2025. What else is on the horizon for the DCU?
Buckle up. June 26th, 2026 brings us Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Supergirl. Okay, cool. Is this going to be like a spin-off from the Superman movie? Will they connect?
That's the question, isn't it? We're not sure how those pieces will fit together just yet, but what we do know is that this is not the same Supergirl you might be used to.
Really? How so? Tell me more.
Think about it. Superman, he's sent to Earth as a baby, adopted by loving parents.
Right, the Supergirl. based on the comic by Tom King. She witnesses the destruction of Krypton firsthand.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a very different experience.
It shapes her into a much more, how do I put this, hardened character. She's seen things, man.
Wow, that's dark. Talk about a different perspective on the whole Kryptonian survivor thing.
Right. It's going to be fascinating to see how she reacts to Superman, who represents a more hopeful, optimistic take on their shared heritage.
Oh, man, the tension is already building. Okay, 2026 is shaping up to be huge E for DC. What else is on the slate?
Well, we have some exciting projects without official release dates yet.
Okay.
There's The Authority.
The Authority.
Which is basically DC's answer to morally ambiguous teams like The Boys.
Yeah.
You know, they're willing to do the dirty work that traditional heroes won't. Okay, so we're talking anti-heroes, morally gray characters. I like it.
And then there's The Brave and the Bold.
Now, The Brave and the Bold, I've heard that title before, but I'm totally blanking. Refresh my memory.
This is the movie that's finally bringing Damian Wayne to the big screen.
Damian Wayne. Okay, now things are getting really interesting.
Right.
For people who are a little lost, Damian Wayne is
Batman's son.
Batman's son, and you know what that means.
Family drama.
Family drama, DC style. I am here for it.
It's going to be epic.
Okay, so we've got these big interconnected DC Universe movies coming out. But what about those standalone Elseworlds projects? You were saying there's still plenty for people who want something a little different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a whole other side to this DC slate that we need to unpack. Remember we were talking about the Batman Part 2, how it exists in its own little world?
Yeah.
Well, get this. It's coming out October 2nd, 2026.
Oh, man, Robert Pattinson back as Batman. I am so there.
Right.
That first movie was incredible.
So good.
What can you tell us about the sequel?
Details are pretty sparse right now, but we know Matt Reeves is back to direct.
Oh, okay.
Which automatically tells you a lot about the tone.
For sure.
And the quality that we can expect.
Yeah.
But from what I've gathered, it sounds like this film is going to explore even deeper levels of corruption within Gotham.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Maybe even challenging Batman's already kind of dark worldview, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's going to be intense.
Okay, this is what I love about this whole Elseworlds concept. It's like each project can really target a specific vibe.
Or a genre.
Absolutely. Like a specific flavor of DC.
Exactly.
All right.
And if you want to talk about specific flavors, how about this? Batman Azteca. Shock de Imperios.
I was waiting for you to bring that one up.
Tell me that's what I think it is.
You got it.
An animated Batman film.
Animated.
Set during the Aztec Empire.
Yes.
We're talking a whole new cultural context.
Totally. New villains.
Okay, that is seriously cool. It's like they took this iconic character and they just draped them into a whole new world.
It's like Batman meets like ancient mythology.
Exactly.
It's going to be wild.
Okay, that's such a testament to how creatively flexible these Elseworld projects can be.
I agree.
I mean, it really makes you wonder, like, what other corners of the DC universe could they explore with this kind of freedom?
Right. The possibilities are endless.
Okay, before we get too lost in those possibilities, we've got to at least touch on DC's presence on the small screen.
Oh, yeah.
I know we could do a whole other deep dive just on their TV shows.
Easily.
There's a lot.
So much.
But just to give our listeners a little taste, what are some of the shows that you've got your eye on?
Well, if you love the Batman, you have to check out The Penguin on Max. It's all about Colin Farrell's character.
Oh, yeah.
Like, diving deep into his rise to power in Gotham's underworld.
Oh, I've heard great things about that one. They say the makeup is so good you forget it's Colin Farrell.
It's insane, right? And for something completely different, there's Creature Commandos, an animated series that's actually going to kick off the official DC Universe timeline.
Wait, seriously? They're starting their whole new universe with an animated show?
Yeah. It just goes to show you how important animation is to their overall strategy.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
They're not treating it like a side thing at all. This is canon.
I like that.
From day one.
Yeah.
This is how the DCU begins. And speaking of not being a side thing, we gotta mention Waller.
Oh, yeah.
With the incredible Viola Davis returning as Amanda Waller.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, please. After Peacemaker, I will watch anything with her in it.
Right.
She just owns that role.
She's incredible.
Incredible.
And this show is going to give us a deep dive into her character, the mind, the methods, the moral complexities of Amanda Waller.
Cannot wait. Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be intense.
Okay, thinking about all this DC content, movies, TV shows, animation, live action, it's giving me serious FOMO.
Right?
But it also makes you realize just how big their strategy is here.
It really does. It feels different, don't you think?
I do. It's not just releasing a bunch of random movies and shows hoping something sticks.
It feels more curated, more intentional.
Yes.
There's a purpose behind it all.
It's like they sat down and they said, okay, how do we make DC entertainment the thing that everyone's talking about?
And how do we do it in a way that feels new and fresh and exciting?
Yes. And it's clearly working because everyone is talking about it.
It's true. The hype is real. And you know what else I'm noticing?
What that?
They're really leaning into diversity, both in front of and behind the camera.
You know what? That's a really good point. It hasn't always been DC's strong suit, but it feels like they're making a real effort this time around.
For sure. And not just with the big name heroes either.
Right. You're right. We've got projects like Batman Azteca, putting a fresh spin on a familiar character.
Yeah.
Static Shock.
Yeah.
Potentially bringing a whole new dimension to the DCU.
And don't forget about Ta-Nehisi Coates tackling Black Superman. To have someone with his background and insights exploring that mythology, huge. It's huge.
That's huge.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it really does feel like they're saying DC can be for everyone.
Yes.
And they're putting some serious talent behind it.
For sure.
It's not just about, like, checking boxes.
That's authentic.
Yeah, these projects could really shake things up.
Absolutely. And like we were saying with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, they're not shying away from like really exploring those darker, more complex sides of these characters.
Right.
I mean, even Superman, in Gunn's vision,
Right.
is grappling with some heavy stuff. It's just a different, it's a different approach to what a hero can be.
Yeah, which honestly we've seen work well for them. Even going back to Joker,
Yes.
that movie was not afraid to get dark, explore the uncomfortable stuff.
And it resonated with people. It proved that there's room for those kinds of stories in
Yeah.
the superhero genre.
For sure. It doesn't always have to be like saving the world with a smile, you know.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's about confronting the darkness head on.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like with projects like The Authority on the horizon, they're going to keep pushing those boundaries.
I hope so. I
Sure.
think they will. I mean, that's what makes this so exciting. They're not just rehashing the same old formulas.
Right.
They're experimenting, taking risks, and really digging into what makes these characters and stories so compelling.
It's like they're saying, we trust our audience to handle complex themes and challenging narratives.
Yes.
And honestly, I think it's about time.
It is about time.
Yeah.
Audiences are savvy. They can tell when a studio's phoning it in.
Yeah, totally.
But this new era of DC, it feels different.
It does.
There's a passion and a commitment to quality that's evident.
Yeah, it's like they've rediscovered their love for these characters.
Yes.
And the worlds that they inhabit.
I love that.
And they're inviting us, the audience, to kind of fall in love with them all over again.
And that's the key, right? It's like creating an experience that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Yes.
Something that stays with you
For sure.
after the credits roll.
It's about leaving us wanting more.
Exactly.
Eager to see what crazy, awesome thing DC throws at us next.
100%.
And on that note, I think we've given our listeners plenty to chew on for today.
I think so, too.
We've explored the two-pronged approach with the DCU and Elseworlds. We dove deep into some specific projects. And we even touched on, like, the small screen invasion of DC content that's happening right now.
It's a lot, but hopefully it's exciting.
It is exciting. And hopefully this deep dive gave everyone a much clearer roadmap of what to expect from DC in the coming years.
And maybe even sparked some new fan theories along the way.
Yes. What do you say, listeners? Which upcoming DC project has you most excited and why? Let us know.
Yeah, hit us up on social media.
Because we love geeking out about this stuff with you. This is just the beginning, though, of a very exciting journey for DC, and we're so thrilled to have you along for the ride.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.